Hello crafters, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I'd like to share a card with you, and it's a special birthday card. Now, I took this die, which is the Star Showstopper die set that came from Madetosurprise, and I'm loving making cards with this, and I'm loving changing it up from what you're expected to do. Now, I had a card idea, and at the moment I'm having fun with easel cards, and I'm having more fun adding in a tentfold so I don't have to have a stopper. So I thought I could do an easel fold style card using this Star Showstopper die set. So this is the front of the card, and when you lift this up, you see this star inside. And then we have this flap that comes down. Now our star then goes into an easel style, and we've put a tentfold here. So it opens out and it opens like so. And it stays. It's perfect. It's great. Don't mind the colours. As I was saying, I was practicing. I was having a go. So this one would work. It works out as a 5x7, but I want to go a little bit bigger. I want to make it a kind of a showstopper card. This card is a birthday card for someone special who's coming up very soon, a family member. So I thought, yeah, I love this size, but what if I wanted to go bigger? So the 5x7 size, as you see here, I have the measurements here. And I'm going to hold it there if you want to grab a screenshot. Now, I'll also have links down in the description. I'll put the measurements in for doing this card, as well as the measurements in for our showstopper. So we'll have our showstopper star easel card, and we'll have our 5x7 star easel card. So depending on what you want, I'm not going to do two videos because they're all along the same way. So I've used the dies that come in the set, and this is how they look, like so. So I've cut out the main frame, and I actually have a main frame done here. Where is it? So this is what it die cuts out. This is what our card base is. And what I've done is I've cut it down. So I've cut it down. What I did was I found the middle of this star using the little corner in here. And using my T-square ruler, I found the middle. And then I went 2.5 on one side and 2.5 on the other. And I cut the excess off. Now the star here, it has a fold in it. I just brought the cut line up the whole way. And that's how I got that shape. So that's it there. I've cut it down, and the excess little corner bits here and up here, I just cut off. All I wanted to keep in was the star, and that's what I've kept in. Now I've used the dies here and here for these two pieces. I used the large die here for my blue star. I emboss this using the North Star 3D embossing folder, which is beautiful. I'll go so far as to say savage. If you know me, you know that's a big word to be using. Yeah, and then what I did was I took measurement here of what I needed. Now those little pieces here, top and bottom, you want 4 of them. They're 3/8 of an inch by 1 and 5/16. But I mean, you can kind of cut them to size yourself. But that will give you a lovely card. And then all you need to do is mat and layer for the front. And you could do a mat and layer for in here, like what I'm going to do for this card. Now, what I've done before is I haven't done any mat or layer here. When the card is open, it covers the bottom. So I have done in other cards, and I'll link those videos up here. I've put a mat and layer on the bottom here so you can write your message, but you could just as easy have a hidden message. So your sentiment can go here, and then when the recipient opens the card, your message is hidden. So this is the premise for the card that we're going to make today. Now I'm going to use the ditsy, sorry, must get my words correct, the ditsy embossing folder, and I'm also going to use this, the Happy Birthday A5 stamp set. Now you can use any happy birthday sentiment, any embossing folder if you have these dies. My card base here is a shop bought one. It measures 7 7/8 by 7 7/8, and then it has an 8 by 8 envelope. So I'm using those today. I've also die cut out one of the bases from our Star Showstopper die set. We're going to do some cutting on this. There's two score lines, the outer score lines. I'm going to cut down on them because when we cut them down, it's going to sit in there nicely with about 1/4 of an inch either side. So I'll do that when we get to it. I've also got the tentfold piece. Now this tentfold piece, and I'm going to grab my ruler. It measures 7 1/4 by 8 1/4, and on the 8 1/4 long side I have scored it at 1/2 an inch, 4 1/8 and 7 3/4. Yeah, I think that's right. Next then I have a piece, and this measures 7 1/4 by 7 inches, and this is going to slide in behind our tentfold. So this will be on the back behind, back here, and then this piece will be at the bottom, so it will work like so. That's those two there. I also have a piece of blue cardstock. This is, my card base is an 8 by 8 exactly. It's 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. So on that premise, you'll need a piece of 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. And then you need to come down again. My white piece is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. And that will give us a nice border to go all around the card. Now this is what's going to be on the front of my card. I also have the same again, so you'll need 2 of each. But the second white piece I haven't embossed. That's going to go on the inside of my card here, like so, and we'll have them nicely matte and layered. My sentiment will go on there. I'll have room to write my message, and then when the tentfold comes out, it's going to literally hide what's underneath. So it's a hidden message card, and I love that idea. For our star base, that's going to be the easel pop, which is going to pop up. I have die cut out some, I'm going to bring in my little box lid of things that I have here ready. So I have die cut out 3 stars, and like I showed you in the die set, there are some stars here, 1 2 3 4. Then you have 2 stars together, and then you have 4 stars together. So I've taken this largest star here, and I've die cut out 3 of them. So one of them has got foam on it. Actually, 2 of them have foam on it because one is going on the front. So our mats and layers here is going to have this star on it. So we're pulling out what's going on inside the card to outside the card. And then the second one that I have here, that one is going to go in the middle here. So it'll be raised up and it'll sit in the middle here. The third star that I have cut, I'm going to move this as well so I can show you. The third star, we've got one is going to go here and the other one is going to go here. And then I've got some big words. These are from the Big Words die set. I think it's this one. This one. There are two. So I've die cut out the Hooray, which is this one here. And I've die cut out the Birthday, which is this one here. So they're the two sets from Madetosurprise. They're brilliant. So I have my Hooray and my Birthday. Hooray is going in the front. Birthday is going inside. I'm going to pop that here like so. And then I've got some mats and layers that come in the dies that will decorate around our piece. So there's 2, 3 that go on here, and then there's these extra, there's these 3 which will go along here like so. Now I don't want to use these 3. I want to use these 3 but not these. So what I've done is I've cut a strip. This measures 7 1/8 by 1 3/8. And I'm going to pop that up there. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to have my happy. Now this is a happy that I've die cut out from my stash. With the big words, there are alternative words that you can stamp. So I could have stamped the happy, but I wanted a die cut one. So I've used that. And I want that to sit up here so it reads, you know, happy birthday. But I didn't think it looked right with these. I'll show you and you can see what you think yourself. Maybe you want to go with these ones. But my happy, I just felt, I mean, it could fit there astride the 2. It can go, oh, I just felt that other than it being there, I didn't like it. So hence the reason I have gone off with them and popped that up there. And I'm going to pop the happy then over here to the side. So happy birthday. And then I've die cut out all the different little star shapes in colors that matches my pattern paper. Now they're not exactly the same, but they're color tones on to what's in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle some of them, all the different sizes, all around the card, in the different colors and whatnot, all around it. So that is how our card is basically going to look. I'm going to go ahead now, I'm going to clear everything over and I'm going to start assembly on the card. So the first thing I want to do is trim my die cut base. And like I said, there are 2 score lines, one on either side, and I'm going to cut them off. So I'm just going to bring that up. Now I find when I'm using my trimmer, I like to take a pencil and make a little mark, because sometimes it can be hard to see the score lines in your trimmer. It is lashing raining here. We've had a very wet July and the weather here is very, very wet. So I do apologize if you can hear the rain coming down. So I'm going to take off one side and turn it around and take off the other side. Now I just need to trim that a tiny bit more to take that little sliver off and to cut away the actual score line. There we go. So this is going to be our card base. Now don't get rid of these pieces that we have taken off, because we're going to use one of them as a tab for the top piece. And you'll see it's going to be a little bit short, but that's fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to just score this down the middle. And that'll give us our flap then for the top. So I'll fold that over. I'm going to add some tape onto this, and I'll use some liquid glue, and I'm going to attach that onto the back up here. I'm adding double-sided tape now onto one of the tabs, and then I'm going to add my liquid glue onto this, and I'll stick it to the back so it'll be our fold there to attach to the card base. And I've got my double-sided tape there now ready to attach it into the card base. So now we have our tab on. The next thing I want to do is I want to add on my tentfold piece. So if we have our added tab on the top, we have our tentfold piece here, which is in the shape of a W. I'm going to add this piece here to the bottom of our panel, just like that. So I'm going to fold this over and bring this over to the panel like so. And the great thing about the liquid glue is it'll give me a little while for it to catch. And I love the Barely Arts glue because if it oozes out, or you have some on your fingers that goes onto your cardstock, it literally just rubs off. There's no tacky residue or anything there. Now, so we have our tentfold now attached onto our panel. And this all needs to go into our card base. So I have my card base here now, and what we want to do is we want to attach this in here like so. Now our card panel, our star panel, that needs to come down just shy of the score line so that when you fold this piece up, it sits in there nicely. If you bring this bulk too close down to your score line, then you're going to have a very bulky bit here. So make sure you pull it back about 1/8 of an inch back from the score line. And then this panel here, when it sits down, it'll be back a good bit from the top. Let me see. It'll be 3/4 of an inch down from the top, but that's okay. We don't mind that. That just gives it something, you know. And when this panel is out straight as well, it will sit out. It'll sit back as well. So the two will actually, they'll match up when, if you look at them like that. It's hard to show you on the camera, but when they're both up there like that, it'll kind of have an overlap. So I have a little mark here. This is when I was working things out myself and how things were going to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other end of our tentfold card. So this is how it looks. I'm going to take this tab and I'm going to stick that down there. And once I have that down, then I can stick the top part on. So I'll fold that down. So I'll come from the inside then and add a little bit of pressure there. And that is how that's going to sit. So if I turn that up for you, it has a bit of a Star Wars face going on here, I think. So that's how it looks. So now we have our panel to go in the back here to cover our tabs. That's this one here. And that should sit in there. Now it may be a little bit tall, which mine is, so I'm going to trim mine down, and then we can add our panels to the front and to the inside down here where we need to stamp a message. So there we are. There is our finished card. We have our hooray on the outside. We also have a blank area on the back if you want to put a sentiment, but I have a hidden message inside because we'll have our birthday message in there. And when our easel pops up, the message will be hidden, and it looks really lovely. So I hope you've enjoyed this easel tenfold card using the star showstopper die set mechanism from Madetosurprise. All the links will be down in the description, as well as the measurements for this and the 5x7 card. I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, you might give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel Blonde Cards and Crafts and ding the bell. That way you'll be notified next time I post a new video. You can share your makes with me on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. And if you'd like to help support my channel, you can click the super thanks button down below. That will help my channel. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now.